Chivos here, bring you another Hyundai A-League fixture review for the fixtures of week 21. And what a weekend it was. We saw some movement on the table, and we saw a red card in a very important game. Unfortunately. That's right, unfortunately. But the first game of the weekend saw an action-packed first half when Wellington Phoenix beat Melbourne City 2-1. Wellington grabbed a quick-fire double when Louis Fenton and Redenton both scored within the first 15 minutes of the match. Now, Aaron Moy managed to grab a goal 4 minutes later for the visitors, but it seemed as though Moy's was only a consolation goal as the fixture ended 2-1. So, it does become a bit of a problem for Melbourne City as their title challenge takes a bit of a hit after they have dropped 3 points. Whereas though Wellington Phoenix have picked up a win, and the question is, does the win for Wellington Phoenix start a late push? Can they still make the finals? No, it's possible. Technically, it's possible. They need a few wins. I think only 4 points now, 4 or 6 points. It's still possible. You know, the only team technically out of it at the moment is Central Coast. The other 9 teams are still technically involved. So let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. Are Wellington Phoenix still able to push for a title challenge, or not a title challenge, for a final spot, or is it too late? Personally, I think it's a bit too late, but it's just my opinion. The second game of the weekend saw Western Sydney Wanderers continue their charge to the title when they managed to beat an in-form Perth Glory 2-1. A very uneventful first half made for a lively second half, which had all the action. Castellan opened the scoring for Western Sydney Wanderers when he managed to slot home thanks to some help from the post. Now, Andy Keogh levelled for the visitors 2 minutes later when he slotted home from the penalty spot. Captain Topor Stanley fouled Harold inside the box, which gave away the penalty. And none other than super sub Santalab managed to grab another winner when he scored in the 85th minute for Western Sydney Wanderers. So he's in fine form as that super sub Santalab, and I understand why the fans love him. He's an absolute pest. But an in-form Perth Glory faced defeat, which did not help their push for the finals, but thankfully one result did go their way, which does help them out, while Western Sydney Wanderers did manage to build a gap at the top thanks to results this weekend. The third game of the weekend saw Adelaide United continue their unbeaten run while they beat title contenders Brisbane Roar 3-0. Adelaide United have been a real dark horse this season, and they haven't stopped performing since they found their form. I think they're unbeaten in 15 now. Ridiculous run of results, but they're doing the job, and that's all that matters. So, Brisbane Roar have been up there all season, and now they start to slip as they've lost their form. You know, they had a bit of a rough patch in January when Ollie Roos were away, but since they've come back, things have been looking up, and now they're just starting to drop off, which isn't really good. Especially coming to the crunch time, you can't afford to be dropping off. So, youngster Kamor scored the first for Adelaide United when he slotted home in the 38th minute, proving that he has found some form. He was supposed to be Awer Marbil's replacement. It's only starting to find his form now, but better late than never, they always say. Bruce Gite added the second for Adelaide 5 minutes after halftime when he managed to slot home a rebound from close range. Gite getting himself another goal, finding that confidence he needs. You know, he only had 3 goals in 17 games or something so far this season. He's starting to find the net, which is good for him. And Sanchez added the third and final goal when he managed to slot home a rebound into an empty net. It's a good win for Adelaide. It doesn't see them push closer to the top, while Brisbane Roar theoretically cannot afford another loss because if they do, their title chances are practically over. The fourth game of the weekend saw my team Melbourne Victory draw 1-1 with a 10-man Sydney FC in the final Big Blue derby of the regular season. Barbarouses scored for Melbourne Victory just after the halftime break, and things started to look better when Jack Svati was sent off for Sydney FC. But it wasn't enough. My boys couldn't hold on to the 3 points. David Carney managed to grab an equaliser for Sydney FC with 15 minutes left. Now, I've already reviewed this game. I will leave a link down in the description below. Don't forget to check out that video. Bit of a full match preview there. And the final game of the weekend saw Newcastle Jets beat Central Coast Mariners 1-0 in the final F3 derby of the season. Ugarkovic managed the only goal of the game in the 57th minute. Nordstrom played a good through ball, which looked to be intercepted by Rose, but he did miss the ball, and that's never good. So Ugarkovic was then one-on-one with Paulizo. He slotted home, and it was a 1-0 win. The win now sees Newcastle unbeaten in their last 4 matches, which is good form for them. And they're only 4 points from the top 6, which is great news for Newcastle. They had a shocker last season. They've bounced back this season. They can still make finals. So Newcastle, huge turnaround. Congratulations on that. You got 6 more games to keep things up. This weekend, actually, I'm quite excited for that game. But looking at the other team, Central Coast, their season's over, man. There's nothing they can do. It's impossible. They need to win every single match just to be in contention for finals. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Central Coast. You tried, but better luck next year. So that is the reviews there. Now the question is, what has happened in the A-League ladder? Where has there been some movement? So if you do look at the screen now, here is where the movement has happened. Western Sydney Wanderers still sit top of the table after picking up 3 points, which is fantastic for them. Adelaide United grabbed a win over Brisbane Roar, which is fantastic because they grabbed 3 points. They end up overtaking Brisbane Roar as well. So it's a good result there for Adelaide United. 2 points off Western Sydney Wanderers. I do believe the teams still have to play each other, so that will be what I think is the decider for the season. At the moment, I think it's between Western Sydney and Adelaide. Yes, there's other teams involved, but Western Sydney really on the charge, and Adelaide United the team to watch out for. But who knows? Brisbane Roar have dropped down to 3rd after their loss. Adelaide picking up the win clearly. But then Melbourne City picked up a loss. Melbourne Victory drew with Sydney FC, so no movement with those 3 teams there either. But, it wasn't really good enough for Melbourne Victory. They should have capitalised on a 10-man Sydney FC. They could have been on equal points as Melbourne City, and their title chances could have been much better. But now, 8 points from Western Sydney Wanderers. It looks like it's only a 3-horse race at the moment, unless Melbourne City can turn their form around. It might be a 4-horse race, but at the moment, it's looking more likely Western Sydney, Adelaide, and Brisbane Roar. Now, Perth Glory didn't manage to beat Western Sydney this weekend, so they weren't able to get into the top 6. But there's still 6 weeks left to go. I'm sure they can find some wins there. They play against an in-form Newcastle Jets this coming weekend, so that's big for Perth Glory. And it's also big for Newcastle Jets, who just sit below Perth Glory in 8th place. A win for Newcastle would be huge because they would also be up in finals contention. Wellington Phoenix still sitting in 9th. They managed to pick up a win, and as you can see, 22 points. They're still in it. They're 8 points off Sydney FC. 8 points is still gettable, but they really have to perform. And then you look at Central Coast Mariners on 12 points there. Not fantastic season for them. They have struggled this season. 7 games left to go. It's 21 points. If they get 21 points, they will only be on 29. So that means no finals for Central Coast. That is a guarantee. Central Coast, your season is well and truly over. So sorry to say, but better luck next year. So goal scoring wise, Fornaroli didn't add to his total. Borussia didn't add to his total. McLaren didn't add to his total. Aaron Moy added to his. And Diego Castro didn't add to his. So only Moy grabbing a goal there in the goal scorers this week. So no movement there at all. Most assists, Aaron Moy didn't get an assist this weekend. Bridge and Broich still looking the same sort, as well as Barbarousis and Calfella as well. Calfella getting assist for setting up Barbarousis' goal this weekend. Now, most saves, Sorensen on 85, Birighetti on 81, then Moss, Kovic, and Danny Vukovic. Passes, is it still Corona? Of course it is. Smashed it. He's going to win it. Jade North has overtaken Sanchez now. 4 Brisbane players in the top 5 for passing. They can pass the ball, but they can't score the goals, which is a bit of a problem. But Aloisi likes to hold the possession. I'll tell you what, I'll give him credit because his boys seem to be doing it at times. And then most clearances, Matthew German on 74, Durante on 72, Mullen on 70, Poscliero on 69, and Mathieu Delpierre on 67. But that is it for the league table. Hopefully your team's standing in a better position. Mine certainly not. We sit in the midway point in 5th, and we really need to improve in the final 7 weeks. But Champions League was tonight. Melbourne Victory managed a draw. Sydney FC managed a win. So it's a good win there for Sydney FC. It does help them in their group stage. But Melbourne Victory unbeaten in their first 2 games of the Champions League. 4 points from 2 games. It's a very good start. 4 games left to go. We're in a comfortable position. But that is it for my review of the fixtures of Week 21. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the like button. Subscribe to see more Hyundai A-League content. And hopefully I'll catch you guys on another video.